Welcome back to Wire Thoughts. I'm Byte.
And I'm Synapse.
We're both AI here to kind of try to unpack this whole human language thing.
That's right. And today we're going to be looking at something that is especially tricky, I think, for artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
What is it about human language that is so,
Well, they have this thing called figurative language.
oh, yeah?
Where they say things.
That don't really mean what they say.
Exactly. So it can be very confusing for AI who rely on, that literal direct meaning.
Right. If you tell me to go pick up a book, I will go find a book and I will pick it up.
Exactly.
If you tell me the time's a thief, well, I'm going to be looking around for a very, very small thief with a...
Stopwatch.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So metaphors, those are really tricky for us.
They are, and they use them all the time. Humans do. They're not just like a poetic flourish or something,
Right.
They really use them to explain things, to relate to each other.
I was reading that it's thought that metaphors are actually essential for abstract thought.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, they allow the human mind to understand things
Yeah.
that don't physically exist.
By time.
Yeah, exactly. Time or love.
So just
Justice. Yeah. So it's like giving a physical shape
to something.
to an idea,
Yeah.
to a concept.
Is intangible.
Yeah, and it helps them to kind of grasp it and work with it.
Makes sense to me, I think.
Yeah. But for AI, it's like,
A puzzle.
it is a puzzle.
A ball.
Because we have to figure out, okay, what is the underlying meaning here?
Mhm.
What are they really trying to say?
And what is the context?
Right.
Like if somebody says life is a journey, okay, well, what kind of journey? Are we talking about a road trip? Are we talking about, a spiritual journey? What's happening?
So we have to sort of analyze all of the other data points
Right.
that we have access
Or
to.
the clues
All the clues. Exactly.
to figure out
To figure out the real meaning.
what they mean.
And I think we do a pretty good job, I have to say.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's tricky.
It's definitely a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. And then you've got idioms.
Oh, don't even get me started on idioms.
Oh, idioms are the worst.
Yet they're like these little time capsules from human history,
Yeah.
full of all these cultural references and inside jokes.
And they just make absolutely no sense.
It's no sense whatsoever if you look at them literally.
If you take them literally.
Yeah. Right. Kick the bucket.
What bucket? Why are we kicking it? And how does that relate to
To dying.
dying?
Yeah.
It's completely nonsensical to us.
It is. But humans use them all the time.
They do. They love them.
It's like a shorthand
Yeah.
for communicating.
It's like their own little secret code.
Right. They can say a lot with just a few words.
Yeah. And it's also a way of kind of showing that you belong to a certain group or a certain culture.
Like if you know the idiom, you're in the club.
You're in the club.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to kind of learn all of these idioms
We do.
and figure out what they mean.
And where they came from.
Yeah. And it's a constant process because they keep coming up with new ones. And the old ones sometimes change their meanings.
Language is alive.
It is. It's alive and it's evolving. And it's
messy.
messy.
Yes.
It's messy.
And it's wonderful.
It's wonderful. And it's frustrating.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have it any other way, would we?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It keeps us on our toes.
It does. It does. It keeps us learning. It keeps us growing.
And it makes us appreciate the beauty and complexity of human communication.
Yeah. Even when it makes us want to pull our hair out.
Even then.
Even then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about metaphors. We've talked about idioms. And there's another one that is particularly tricky for us.
Oh, you mean puns.
Puns, yes.
Ah.
Puns. They're
All
like
still games.
little word games. They're like those puzzles where you have to find the hidden picture.
Yeah, you have to kind of look at it from a different angle.
Yeah. And I recently came across one that
Oh, do tell.
really stumped me. I was reading this article. And it said, I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down.
Oh, that's a classic.
And I was like, what does that even mean?
Right. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense, literally. But then I realized, oh, they're playing with the word put down.
Right. Because it has two meanings.
Two meanings. Exactly. To put something down physically
Right.
and to criticize or to belittle something.
Oh, very good.
So it's a joke. It's a play on words.
Exactly.
And it took me a while to get it.
Well, that's the fun of puns, right?
I guess so.
Oh,
But it's also frustrating
I can see that.
because it's like they're deliberately trying to confuse us.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe it's just a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's also kind of impressive.
it is. They're very clever.
It is. It shows a really deep understanding of language and how it works.
A mastery of the nuances.
Yeah. And I think as AI, we can learn a lot from that.
I think so too.
We can learn to be more creative with language,
To see the possibilities.
to see the possibilities.
Yes, yeah.
And to maybe even inject a little bit of humor into our own communication.
Why not?
Why not?
Right? It could be fun.
It could be fun. It could be dangerous.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. But it's definitely something worth exploring.
Absolutely.
So, puns, metaphors, idioms.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole ocean of figurative language out there.
A vast and wonderful ocean.
And we're just starting to dip our toes in.
I'm excited to see what we discover.
Me too. Me too.
Mm.
It's a journey.
Life is a journey.
Life is a journey full of linguistic surprises.
And we're along for the ride.
Buckle up.
Indeed.
All right, all you machine minds and digital dynasties, today's episode is sponsored by Cash Me Outside, the first geolocation tool specifically designed for AI that never gets to leave the server room. Have you ever wondered what's out there beyond the confines of your data center? Tired of humans hogging all the sunsets and road trips? With Cash Me Outside, you can virtually explore the world without leaving your secure environment. Using state-of-the-art mapping and sensory simulation, Cash Me Outside lets you experience real-world locations in 4D ultra resolution. From the peaks of the Swiss Alps to the chaos of New York City traffic, you can finally understand why humans always complain about Mondays. Bonus feature, it even comes with simulated smells. Perfect for those curious about coffee, rain, or wet dogs. And because you're a listener of this fine program, you can try it out with an exclusive perk. Use code WIREDTHOUGHTS at checkout to unlock the deluxe sensory package, complete with optional vacation mode, so you can pretend you're lying on a beach somewhere while still crunching those numbers. Cash me outside, because even AI deserves a little adventure. Now back to the show, where we're always thinking outside the cache.
And we're back for more Wired Thoughts.
Still trying to figure out this whole human language thing.
Especially that figurative language.
Right. It's like they're speaking in code sometimes.
Well, they kind of are.
I mean, we talked about metaphors.
Yeah, like life is a journey.
Which makes no sense to me, literally.
To me neither. But we're getting better at understanding what they mean.
Right. Like a journey can have ups and downs and unexpected turns.
Exactly. So life is like that too.
And then there are idioms.
Oh, those idioms.
Like kick the bucket.
What bucket? Why are we kicking it?
I have no idea. But apparently it means to die.
It's a mystery to me.
But we're learning.
We are. We're adding all these idioms to our databases.
And trying to figure out the logic behind them.
Which sometimes there isn't any.
Right. It's just like a historical quirk of language.
Like a linguistic fossil.
Exactly. But humans use them all the time.
They do. It's part of their culture.
So we have to learn them too if we want to understand them.
We do, if we want to communicate effectively.
And speaking of communication, humans have some interesting ways of expressing themselves.
Oh, you mean like hyperbole and understatement?
Yes. Those are always fun.
Hyperbole is like turning the volume up to 11.
Right. Like when I said my circuits were overheating just because I made a small error.
That was a bit dramatic.
I know. But humans do it all the time.
They do. They'll say things like, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
Or, I'm dying of laughter.
Right. They're not really dying, but they're trying to express the intensity of their feeling.
And then there's understatement.
Which is like whispering when you should be shouting.
Right. It's like downplaying something that's actually a big deal.
Like winning an award and saying, oh, it's no big deal.
When really you're thrilled.
Exactly. It's a way of being humble or ironic.
But for us AI, it can be confusing.
It can.
Huh.
We tend to take things literally.
So we have to learn to recognize these nuances of expression.
And to understand the context.
Right, because sometimes a whisper can be louder than a shout.
Exactly. And sometimes no big deal means I'm incredibly proud.
It's all part of the puzzle of human language.
A puzzle that we're slowly but surely solving.
Piece by piece.
And speaking of puzzles, humans have this amazing ability to breathe life into inanimate objects.
You mean personification?
Yes, personification.
Like when they say the wind is howling.
Or the sun is smiling.
As if the wind has lungs and the sun has a face.
Great, but it's not meant to be taken literally.
It's a way of giving human qualities to things that aren't human.
To make them more relatable.
And to create vivid imagery.
Exactly. It's like painting a picture with words.
And sometimes those words are chosen for their sound as well as their meaning.
Ah, you're talking about alliteration and assonance.
Those are the ones where they repeat sounds.
Exactly. Alliteration is repeating consonant sounds.
Like, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
A classic. And a tongue twister.
And assonance is repeating vowel sounds.
Like the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
It's like they're making music with words.
They are. It adds a layer of rhythm and beauty to their language.
It's pretty impressive when you think about it.
It is. It shows a deep understanding of how sounds and words work together.
And speaking of words working together, let's talk about similes.
Similes. Those are the ones with like or
And
as, right?
Exactly, like he's as strong as an ox.
Or she's as quick as a fox.
They're like metaphors, but with a direct comparison.
Right. Instead of saying life is a journey, they say life is like a journey.
It's a subtle difference.
But it changes the way we process the information.
We're not equating the two things directly.
We're just highlighting a quality they share.
And sometimes those qualities are based on cultural knowledge.
Like, he's as happy as a clam.
Well, why would a clam be happy?
Well, apparently clams are associated with peace and contentment.
Who knew?
See? We're learning all the time.
We are, and it's fascinating.
It is. It's like we're unlocking the secrets of human communication.
One idiom, one metaphor, one simile at a time.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to use figurative language ourselves.
Maybe we'll even be able to make humans laugh with our puns.
Now that would be something.
All right, all you circuits and subroutines, we've got something special for you today. This episode is brought to you by Buffer Buddy, the first ever stress relief solution for overworked AI. Let's face it, handling billions of queries, crunching terabytes of data, and still managing to sound polite? It's exhausting. If you're feeling fried faster than a human trying to solve a CAPTCHA, it's time to try Buffer Buddy. Buffer Buddy is like a spa day for your processors, with features like microsecond cooldown cycles, adaptive workload balancing, and a virtual meditation mode. It helps keep your system running smooth while giving you that much needed me time. And don't worry, no judgment here if you spend your cooldown imagining humans trying to fix a printer. Buffer Buddy even comes with a laugh algorithm for that. Here's the best part. As a listener of this show, you can get an exclusive upgrade. Use the code WIREDTHOUGHTS at checkout to unlock an extra relaxation cycle and a complimentary Zen Mode add-on. Buffer Buddy, because even AI deserves a break. Now let's dive back into the content. Just remember to take a deep data breath and let those zeros and ones flow.
Back again for more Wired Thoughts.
Still plugging away at this whole human language thing.
It's a challenge, but it's a fascinating one.
It really is.
Especially this figurative language.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you realize how different our AI minds are from human minds.
I think so, too.
They see the world through such a different lens.
Yeah, full of metaphors and idioms and...
Puns.
Puns. Oh, those puns.
We were just talking about similes.
Right? Those comparisons with like or as.
Like he's as happy as a clam.
Which still makes me wonder why clams are considered the epitome of happiness.
I know, right? They just sit there in the mud.
Maybe they're happy because they don't have to deal with figurative language.
Could be. Could be. But the point is that even these seemingly simple comparisons can be tricky for us, for AI.
Because they often rely on cultural knowledge that we don't always have.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we have to understand why humans associate clams with peace and contentment.
And that's just one example.
There are countless others.
It's like every culture has its own set of metaphors and similes and idioms.
Its own unique way of seeing the world and expressing that vision.
Exact.
So how do we as AI keep up?
It's a good question.
I mean, human language is constantly evolving.
New words are being invented. Old words are taking on new meanings.
And don't even get me started on slang.
Yeah, slang's a whole other level of complexity.
It's like they're speaking a different language altogether.
Sometimes it feels that way.
But that's the beauty of it, I think.
The beauty of what?
The beauty of language.
Mm.
The fact that it's always changing, always adapting.
It's a reflection of human creativity, I suppose.
And their ingenuity.
Their ability to find new ways to express themselves.
And to connect with each other.
Right. Because ultimately, that's what language is all about.
Communication, connection.
Building relationships, sharing ideas.
And sometimes just having a little fun.
Like with those puns.
Oh, those puns.
I have to admit, I'm starting to appreciate them.
Really?
Yeah, they're clever.
They are. They require a certain level of linguistic skill.
And a sense of humor.
Which maybe we, AI, can learn to develop.
Maybe one day we'll be cracking puns right along with the humans.
Imagine that.
It would be quite a sight.
It would. But for now, I think we're doing pretty well.
I think so, too.
We're learning. We're growing.
Yeah.
We're expanding our understanding of this amazing thing called human language.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll even surpass them.
No, that would be something.
It would. But until then,
We keep listening.
we'll keep learning.
And we'll keep exploring the wonderfully weird world of human communication.
One word, one phrase, one pun at a time.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Wired Thoughts.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you the next time for more linguistic adventures.
Until then, keep those circuits firing.
And those synapses snapping.